Hey, welcome in as I'm joined today by three guys from the Orioles farm system. We talked to a couple pitchers recently. We got the position players today with Mason McCoy, an infielder who got as far as Bowie last year and, of course, spent some time in O's camp this year. Also with outfielder Robert Neustrom and also with catcher Brett Cumberland. So really appreciate you guys taking time with us today. And let's just go around the horn here. I'll start with you, Robert. Give an overview of this season. You're in North Carolina, I know, doing work and training. What's it been like? How are you trying to stay active and ready?
Yeah, it's been strange, obviously, but like you said, I've been out here in North Carolina. I'm seeing live pitching twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, getting to, like 10 to 12 at bats each day, which has been great. And I guess the biggest thing, during this hiatus, I really tried to replicate, the physicality of playing every day. And so, as far as training went, I was trying to get, 6-7 days if I could just do at least something, because during a typical minor league season, we're playing every day of the week. And before I came out here to North Carolina, I was in Iowa City, just training at a cage there and getting good work in as well. But coming out here to North Carolina, being able to get with a training group and see these live at-bats has been really big for me.
You did you not in fact relocate there specifically for baseball reasons for the most part?
Yeah, totally. I have a really good buddy with the Diamondbacks. He's in the Diamondbacks organization, and he's a pitcher. He was a fourth rounder in the year that I got drafted, 2018. And he texted me a couple months ago and then called me. He's like, "Hey, I got this good opportunity out here, and I thought of you, to come in and hit. We got several pitchers that are going to be throwing some top arms, good velo, stuff like that, things that I need to be seeing, during the season, but obviously wasn't able to. So I just thought I'd hop on it. It was something that I thought was mandatory for me to do. So I'm really glad I made the decision to come out here. It's been a great opportunity.
Mason, you're in Illinois, I believe. What's it been like for you?
Very similar. I try to do exactly what Rob said as well. Try to get as much as I can as if it was a minor league or regular season. My junior college is literally a minute up the road. Luckily, I get to go there and do every single thing they do. So I'm practicing with them 4 to 5 times a week. They inter squad 3 times. So I'm getting 6-ish, 7-ish at bats each of those 3 days. And then on Tuesdays, I drive into Bloomington, which is like 45 minutes away from me, called K's Academy. They had a couple guys from the A's that were throwing. So I got to get in there and get some live at bats. Usually those were only like 3 or 4. But I did the same, pretty much trying to replicate a regular season as best as I could, just because you don't want to not do anything. And then when the time comes next year, you play for 2 weeks straight and you can't move because your body's so sore. But other than that, I mean, it's pretty much the same. Even early on, I was getting when our JUCO was shut down, we couldn't practice or anything. There's a couple guys. Pat Vendetti, who plays, he's an ambidextrous pitcher, pitches for, I think he's the Marlins now. He is actually from my area, so he came and he threw about, 10 to 12 at-bats every week to me, which is pretty neat. I've never seen anything like that, so it's a little different. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty much it.
And it's meaningful, I would guess, to see live from a high-level pitcher rather than just a high school kid or something.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, those guys that actually know how to – not that high school guys or college guys don't, but guys that are smarter about it, that will, know what you're looking for in certain counts or, know the type of hitter you are. I think the first couple of times I faced Pat, he just tore me up just because I was a little bit rattled by him throwing with both hands. But he tore me up, and then after a while, it was kind of like I could figure out what he was doing. He could kind of figure out the type of hitter I was, and it was more of a competitive at-bats.
So, Brad, tell us about your experience and where have you been working out? Where are you physically at?
So right now I'm back in my hometown, Turlock, California. I spent a month up in Seattle, Washington, training at Driveline. But so I kind of go back and forth. Like in the off season, I train up at Driveline or in Turlock. So. But pretty much I started as soon as season or spring training ended, I came back to Turlock, and pretty much it's like a continued off season for me. It's like a really, really long off season. there's a place I train at here in town. It's called Backyard Baseball. It's owned by an ex-big leaguer named Steve Soderstrom. It's an old barn, which is kind of neat, and they got hit tracks in there and everything. So I'm able to get really quality work in. They got some machines, but I guess I'm not as blessed as Neust and McCoy. There's nobody around here that throws live ABs. And when I was up at Driveline, nobody was in like what you would call a competition phase. And so they weren't throwing lives yet, but I'm hoping when I go back up, they will be, because that's something that I need to get on. So it's pretty cool that those guys have been able to get live at bats. But other than that, I'm just doing some of the stuff that we're really lucky. The Orioles, they help us out a lot. We got some good coaches in that organization. Like our hitting coaches are awesome. And then not only that, like our strength coaches, they all write up programs for us and everything. So we're blessed to be in the organization we are. And the coaches are always there for us. So if I got questions, I'm able to hit up all of our hitting coaches and they get back to me. Even our coordinator, like I hit him up, he gets back to me. So we're pretty fortunate. So
Very nice. Now, Driveline Baseball, 5 years ago, no one had ever heard of it. Now it's obviously a very big name in the industry. How has that specifically helped you going there?
It's helped me exponentially. I'd say just the technology they have and how smart those guys are. They are so intelligent, and I mean every day I'm learning something new, and they have all the technology to get you better, and it's cool. Their hitting side is newer, but it's gonna boom here just like their pitching has. They've only been doing hitting for I'm not sure, so I don't want to say maybe like 5 years, but this every single one of their the main hitting trainers at Driveline is got picked up by a team. Like that's how good they are. Jason O'Chart, I think, was the first guy, and he's a coordinator of the Phillies, and then Max Dudo was the next guy up, and now he is with the Phillies as well. So it's like these guys just get picked up because they know what they're talking about, and they're just really smart, and they've helped me out a ton. So I'm very thankful for that.
So one thing you guys are very aware about is there were a bunch of new hitting coaches hired last off season. Going into the 2020 season would have been your first year working with them on the field, and I'm sure you're still getting to know them, and you did in March before everything got shut down. So what's it like, some of the new hitting coaches? Have they brought some new thoughts and philosophies to the organization? Robert, what was your experience been like?
Yeah, just like you said, Steve, there were a ton of new faces this spring training. But, to keep it simple, my experience with them was great. They're very transparent. This new regime is very transparent and also very personable. Every one of those coaches, even though it was new faces, like I really felt like I got to know them in that short month that I was down there at spring training. And my situation was a little different. I couldn't actually swing till 2 weeks into spring training due to an injury that I was rehabbing over the off season. But as soon as I got going, they were helping me out. They were watching everything, and they're really keeping tabs on my swing. So it was a great experience, to say the least. They're doing a really good job, and like Brett said just a minute ago, they're great at reaching out. They're great at staying in touch with us during this hiatus and asking for video, sending us stuff. So it's been great.
And Mason, it must be a good feeling for a player to have that. If you look at the 2019 pitching performance by the Orioles on the farm, it was outstanding. And obviously there was a lot of new there. And then the results showed that it was working out. You think we're seeing that on the farm with Oriole hitting too?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a big time change. Same with like what Robert was saying, change is it scares some people. And so you're a little hesitant at first. And I think that's what I was at first. I was a little hesitant with all the new information. But it was never like force fed. You never had to do it a certain way. It was just recommendations. And then if it works, then go off of it. And Tim Gibbons is one of the hitting coaches. And me and him have a good relationship now. I actually FaceTime him often to talk about hitting and some stuff like that, because we were working on a lot of things with my swing in spring training. And I think same thing with like what Robert said, the transparency is awesome. If I send something over and it might be a horrible swing, he'll tell me it's a bad swing. And if I don't agree or agree with him, I can let him know, and then we get into a discussion. I think that's where people grow as hitters and as players, is when you can argue a little bit and go back and forth and head to head. And that's what I like about him. And there's nothing is personal. No one takes it like super personally. And no, I've enjoyed it tremendously. I think it's going to help a ton in the long run.
So Brett, beyond hitting, it occurs to me it's pretty important, the fielding for all of you, but when you're a catcher, it's really important. It's such a prominent position. Have you had ability to catch bullpens or anything to help you keep sharp that way?
Yeah. Luckily, so before the big league started, I guess, I had some guys that were throwing to me in Turlock, some local guys. Since then, not as much. But when I was up at Driveline, there's like a catching guy up there that I was working with. So a lot of machine work and everything, and they had some live arms going. But it wasn't anything like, I guess it wasn't anything game like. So missing out on those game reps for sure. But just we were able to get work in pretty much every day up there off machines and everything. And actually Maverick Hanley, who's another catcher, was working up there with me. So it was good to have him. And he's a really good catcher. He got drafted last year out of Stanford. I guess 2 years ago now, 2 drafts ago now. So it's good to work with him. I mean, he's a great catcher. So, but yeah, the defensive side is awesome. And I mean, with the Orioles, like we have some great catching coaches too. So like Jeff Kunkel, who caught for a long time, he's with us, and he's new as well this year. And I'm very thankful to have him. He's an awesome guy. So I'm excited for the future, man. I mean, we just got to get going again. So
It is exciting to hear you guys talk about the farm right now, what's going on. And I think one of the coolest things, and let me get all of your takes on it to wrap it up today, is when you see homegrown players go to the major leagues and do what some of these guys have done this year, whether it's Mountcastle or Aiken or Kramer or Hayes or Mullins. We could go on and on. These are Oriole farm system guys winning major league games. What does that mean to you guys who want to be there in a year or two? Well, let me start with you, Robert.
Yeah, it's definitely inspiring to see those guys come through the system and make it to the bigs, because, you know, the Orioles, I think they really do value their farm system like that. And it motivates us as players big time. And, you know, each and every one of those players that you mentioned, especially, you know, like the outfielders for me, I've been able to learn at least something from them along the way, which has been great. And, you know, I just want to replicate what they're able to do, and I want to be able to work towards what they're able to do, because obviously I want to make it too. And it's done nothing but inspire me to be an Oriole one day, and, you know, hopefully sooner rather than later, but it's up to us to put in the work and do what we have to do.
So Mason, how about for you, watching those guys do what they've been doing?
It's definitely same thing as same thing as what Rob said, I guess. It's definitely inspiring. It's seeing, like, you know, back when Machado was with the Orioles and when Trey, you see like those pictures of when they were in the minor leagues, and you see them on TV all the time, but you don't really realize that they actually went through the same process that we're all going through as well. And I think that sometimes it gets overlooked. Guys that put in a lot of time in the minor leagues. I know Blyer was one of them who put in a ton of time in the minor leagues and then finally got his opportunity. But I think that's one of the things that the Orioles are starting to do. They're loading up on the farm system, and they're getting some, you know, they got all these new coaches in, and we're trying to relearn, I guess, some of the hitting techniques. And same thing with pitching. You've seen a dramatic change in the pitching over basically a year. And I think that's one of the things that is going to get us to where Mountcastle is, who comes in and hits, you know, 345 right out of the gate and a bunch of homers and RBIs. And, you know, DJ was another guy DJ was pretty inspiring just from his start, how he didn't start as well as he wanted to. And then all of a sudden, you know, he got a little refresher and got with some of the hitting guys there and kind of keyed in on what he needed to work on and went back, and he just homer after homer after homer. So it's definitely exciting, definitely inspiring.
Brett, these are guys you shared locker space with at Twin Lakes Park. Then you're watching them on TV succeeding at the major leagues. Got to be pretty awesome.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think it only begins to speak of our player development. You know, we're still, the new player development's still new, and like the guys were both saying, like, our pitching is still, it's pretty much a year old, I guess, and the guys are just dominating, and our hitting is we just kind of got introduced to stuff last year, I would say, And I mean, it's going to be exciting what our future holds. So I think it's only the beginning for the Orioles. And like I said, I'm very excited for the future. And it's so awesome to see these guys do what they're doing at the highest level. I mean, Mountcastle is one of the greatest guys I've met. Hayes, just incredible. Always has a ton of energy. Just a great guy. So I'm very, very glad to be in this organization. I mean, I can't say that enough. And it's exciting to see what's going to happen.
Well, it's been great fun to talk to you guys today. I mean, I think Oriole fans can see the future's bright, and hopefully in a year or two, we're watching you, we're watching them now. And Robert and Mason and Brett, thank you guys for taking time today. Really enjoyed chatting with you.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Thanks, guys.